On the history side of things, McCurdy, what you got for us?
So, of course, this is 1969. This is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This is, to me, the middle chapter of the end of the Connery era, even though Connery doesn't show up in this film. It's also the second film in what people like to describe as the Blofeld trilogy. But what probably most people and what we're here to talk about mostly is George Lazenby. And it's our second James Bond, but it's also his first and last appearance in this film. So who is George Lazenby? George Lazenby was an Australian male model who was ridiculously good looking, if I'm quoting Zoolander.
If you like butt chins.
Yes, and at the time he was probably best known for, I mean, I don't think any of us have had this, but Big Fry's chocolates. He was like the spokesperson. I wouldn't even say it's the spokesperson. He was in those commercials, but people knew him from those commercials. At one point, Lazenby gets a call from his agent that they are looking for James Bond. So he goes to, and this is a very condensed version of the story, mind you, but he goes to Connery's barber, gets his hair cut there, like Connery. He goes to Connery's tailor, gets a suit that Connery doesn't pick up, or that he didn't pick up at all, but it was Connery's suit. And then he gets to the audition room. He has to sneak past the receptionist to get to the auditions because they didn't have his name on the list. So when the receptionist is looking down at her desk, he bolts past her, and then he is met face to face with producer Harry Salzman. He lies his ass off. He told Salzman, "Oh, I was in all these foreign films," because asking about all this stuff, because he looks at him, he's like, "Yeah, this looks like our next James Bond." When he finally goes to meet Peter Hunt, which I believe we may have talked about, but he was the editor for all the previous Bond films. This time he's in the director's chair. He tells Peter Hunt, it's like, I can't do this. I'm a model. I've never acted before in my life. Peter Hunt tells him, "Those are the two most ruthless men I know. If you could lie to those two men, you are an actor." So he did several screen tests, of course. He did some acting screen tests. He did some action screen tests. But the best test that he probably was put up was they sent a prostitute and her pimp to his hotel room just so that they were sure that he wasn't gay. And I assure you, he's not gay. So you can see what happened there. But it's amazing to me that they went that far to settle on who's the next James Bond.
I wonder if they did that for every single Bond, or if there was something about Lazenby that they were like, let's just make sure on this guy.
It may have been because he was a male model and they were, are we sure he's not gay?
Yeah.
But and again, this is a different time. Things are very different at this time period. So they wanted to make sure that the guy that they were getting to play Bond was a masculine, macho guy. Of course. So macho and so masculine that when they were doing the screen test or the stunt test, he didn't hold his punches back. So he punched this stunt guy in the nose.
So he John Rhys Davis to them is what you're saying.
What's that?
he John Rhys Davis to them.
Is that a Lord of the Rings thing, or is that an Indiana Jones thing, or is that
John Rhys
James
Davis
Bond
was like
thing?
notorious in Lord of the Rings for just like jacking dudes hardcore. Like he never, like the stuntmen were like, "Please don't try to take us out," and he always 100% of the time did it.
So he knocks this guy's schnoz, and the guy falls to the ground. And it was either Salzman or Broccoli, but the producers basically he thought he f***ed up, and the producer just smashes him into the wall, and he says, "We're going with you." So he knew he had the job at that moment.